Can Xdefiant compete with Call of Duty? That's the question everyone should be asking, because Xdefiant certainly will not kill Call of Duty because only COD can kill COD. And while I will be looking a little at Xdefiant versus Call of Duty, the most important thing I will be going over and giving my opinion on is if Xdefiant is a good game. The simplest answer is Xdefiant is fun and has many good qualities, but it is far from perfect. And the community will have many players be critical of the game because it directly tried to compete with Call of Duty. We know the lead developer, Mark Rubin, came from Call of Duty, where he was Infinity Ward's executive producer until 2015, meaning he worked with some of the greatest COD titles with COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, and Modern Warfare 3. And one of Xdefiant's biggest selling points has been that it's similar to old Call of Duty. That has been a point hammered home by Rubin's comments. When you play Xdefiant, you can definitely feel the inspiration of COD, with them making the game a fast-paced arcade shooter, the style of its maps with many of them being 3 lanes, and of course, their #1 selling point, no skill-based matchmaking. This is what originally made people call Xdefiant the COD killer, but once it was delayed so much, many people took that label away. But the delays did pay off in some aspects by having huge improvements to their servers. In my time playing the last 2 days, I've had 0 issues with connection in-game, and I only had 1 friend lag out of a game once. While the delays hurt it, I actually think it was a great sign, because Ubisoft actually wanted to make sure the game was a complete product at launch, instead of a complete mess like Call of Duty is a lot of the time lately. And I hate that I'm comparing so many aspects to COD, but that's the player base they've tried to acquire. Most players on Xdefiant are Call of Duty players. And I know that because obviously I'm a Call of Duty channel, and a lot of you guys have asked me to play and review this game, and I'm gonna hop into that right now. Some of the good aspects from the game that I really enjoyed was the weapon unlock system, where you had to do specific challenges to unlock weapons. For example, if you wanted the ACR 6.8, you had to get 10 long shots with assault rifles, and those challenges lined up with whatever weapon class you were trying to get a gun for. For example, to unlock an SMG, you had to get hipfire kills with subs. This system allows players to unlock whatever weapons they want in whatever order they want, instead of getting guns at specific levels. And these videos take a lot of effort to make, so please like the video if you want me to make more. Next, the create a class system was very simple, with an appropriate amount of attachments to allow you to easily craft weapons in whatever way you want. Basically, the game doesn't have a million attachments that are completely useless because the entire community is only going to use 2 of them. And the weapons in the game felt pretty good, and most players will enjoy using a multitude of guns. The ARs felt like ARs. The marksman rifles fired slow and hit hard, and they rewarded accuracy. And the SMGs fried up close but dropped off considerably past close range. But not everything is perfect with them, with my biggest issue being how incredibly slow they leveled up. To unlock every attachment on one gun, you need to get over 40 levels on it. That may sound good because the game has 25 weapons, and you don't want to get through the whole thing too quickly, but my most used weapon so far is the M4A1, and I have over 200 kills with it, and the gun is only level 4. So, if the XP per level doesn't increase as you go up, that would mean to get one weapon to level 40, you would need to get about 2,000 kills. Unless you buy the battle pass for increased weapon XP. And you shouldn't be required to buy anything in the game just to get one weapon leveled up. It's ridiculous. But luckily, that would be a very easy issue to fix if they wanted to. And I'm doing a face reveal to 100k subs, so make sure to hit that button if you want to see me or if you just want to support me. And the last thing I'll say with the weapons is that they don't feel quite as smooth or as good as they do in Call of Duty, but at least we have the actual weapon names in this game. Next up, we have 5 factions with different characters in each one, and each faction has 2 abilities. And they act just like specialist characters did in Call of Duty. You have a smaller ability that you can use once every 30 seconds in game. These ones are good, but not overpowered. A couple examples are a digital ghillie suit that makes you invisible, or should I say, extremely difficult to see until you shoot, or the timer runs out. And then another one is the mag barrier that blocks enemies' bullets and grenades, but you can still shoot through it. They add an extra element to the game, and it allows for you to use these different strategies and playstyles. Then each faction has an ultra ability that almost works like support kill streaks. You earn it over time by getting kills or playing the objective, and these ultra abilities are insanely broken, but they don't last very long. And if you don't have a good game, you're not going to earn them. While I like that they're a little challenging to earn, I don't like how short they last because it doesn't make you as excited to earn them, even though they're great. And if we transition to movement, it isn't bad, but it isn't great either. This is the biggest difference you're going to notice from Call of Duty. It's hard to describe because it feels smooth and clunky at the same time. I know that doesn't make any sense, but I'll try to explain it. We can slide cancel just like we can in Modern Warfare 3 by sliding and then hitting the jump button. But instead of just going back into running immediately, we actually jump but are still moving at running speed. And the clunky part is when you're going into the slide, it feels a little off, but once your character fully transitions into the slide, it feels great. And when you jump, it feels like something is trying to pull your character down. And I don't mean gravity, I mean like someone's actually pulling on your character's shoulders. When you try to jump over stuff or up onto things that seem like it should be incredibly easy, you can't. Let's just say these soldiers aren't cut out for the NBA because they can't jump. But where the game's movement is nice and allows for a larger skill gap is with its strafing speed and slide cancel jump that allows for more movement in gunfights. It requires players to have better tracking while shooting and not just worry about controlling the recoil. The more movement a game has, the more unique each gunfight will be, and that helps keep the game fresh. And as you're probably hearing throughout my breakdown, is that the game is a weird mixture of good, okay, and not so good. And that's going to continue here with the health regeneration. As you remember from earlier, this game is an arcade shooter like Call of Duty used to be before they tried to change it for the worse, and arcade shooters are fast-paced, with lots of action, and that's what Xdefiant does well. But the fast-paced nature paired with its incredibly slow health regeneration don't work together. If you get into a fight and take damage, you're probably gonna die. This is because you find enemies extremely fast or they find you. I think they need to change health regeneration to take about half the time it does right now, and it will fit the game's fast-paced nature perfectly. And you may wonder why the game is so fast-paced, and it has a lot to do with the maps. And don't worry, they have plenty of maps with 14. 10 of them are called arena maps, which are the ones you typically find in Call of Duty. They're 3 lanes and they're small to mid-sized. Then they have 4 of them they call progression maps, which are a little bit more similar to Overwatch styled ones. And the reason they have 2 styles of maps is for different game modes. Domination will be played on your arena maps just like Call of Duty, and Escort will be played on progression maps. But even though they're different, they're both fast-paced because the Call of Duty style maps are smaller and have good flow, bringing all the players to the same areas, and the progression maps have game modes that bring people to the same objective location to try and stop one team from advancing. So one very bright spot I've found so far is that I've only been killed once directly off spawning, meaning for the most part, even on the small maps, the game does a very good job of spawning you in a safe area, and all you need to do is take a few steps out to be right back into the action. Next, I'm going to talk about aim assist, and this one will have some happy and some upset depending on if you're on controller or not. The aim assist feels extremely weak in this game compared to Call of Duty. My mouse and keyboard friends are very happy about this, and I feel like I can't aim consistently. At times the game would glitch and give me 0 aim assist even if a player was just running in the middle of a street and I was aimed directly at them. For example, if you aimed in and no player was within your reticle, but then you dragged your reticle to the left and then someone was suddenly inside of your sights, the game wouldn't register any aim assist unless you re-ADS'd. And I'm perfectly okay with the aim assist being weaker in this game, but I think there are some serious bugs with its current state because it straight didn't work at all sometimes. Controller players will need to play the game a bit before getting aiming up to par, which does create more of a skill gap. I think that's a good thing, but they have some issues to work out with it because if I aim at someone, I shouldn't be getting 0 aim assist ever. I should be getting that weak aim assist that's in the game. Even the mouse and keyboard players know that aim assist is a necessary feature for controllers. They only disagree on how strong it should be. Now let's talk about what everyone really wants to hear. Is there actually no skill-based matchmaking? From my experience, I can say that matches are purely found based on connection. When I was in lobbies, everyone always had very similar ping, and I experienced all types of games. I played against exclusively bad players, all good players, and a mix of everything in between. I had games I went 35-8 and games I went 22-18. Whether there's skill-based matchmaking in a game or not, the average KD of any player base will be slightly negative. So why not allow for each game to be unique instead of trying to force every player to be even? Xdefiant allows for me to have all types of games consistently, which makes each one feel more unique while also always having a good connection and finding lobbies pretty quickly. I do, however, have 2 issues with the matchmaking. The first one is while it finds a match and is connecting you to the lobby, it freezes you out of the entire game. You can't even set your classes. My second issue is that it's disbanding every lobby, not allowing you to stay in a lobby if you want. And another thing that isn't the game's fault itself, but is something I thought I should mention, is that in all of my time playing, I never heard one single person talk in game chat, which is sad. But that's just the state of FPS multiplayer games. The only time you hear game chat in an FPS game is in prox chat for Battle Royale games. But let's get back to the question at hand. Can Xdefiant compete with Call of Duty? I genuinely had fun playing it the last couple days and will continue to play the game, but it does nothing groundbreaking. So I do think it will compete with Modern Warfare 3 and retain a player base until Black Ops 6, but if Treyarch makes a good game, I think Xdefiant will die. I still recommend trying it out as a free game that does give a little reminder of how Call of Duty used to be, even if it isn't quite that good. And if you're curious on what Call of Duty multiplayer the community thinks is the best, click here. I know you'll enjoy it. Peace.